Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I'm going to share with you several stories in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam, including this one from the Crypto Basic. Here's how many new XRP millionaires will emerge if XRP reaches $20. I got a question. How many of you believe that you may become one of those XRP millionaires? Meaning, literally, set aside the rest of your net worth, forget that, and the rest of the money that you may make from crypto, just from XRP. Are you going to hit 7 figures from XRP? And look, I would not doubt if, for a number of you, the answer is yes. That would not remotely surprise me. Though that doesn't have to be a target. Like, you can still get what is a gigantic part of life-changing wealth from XRP, even if that's not quite your target. Or maybe your target's even higher than that. Like, I'm not here to tell you that you're right or wrong on that. And I admit I don't know where the price is going to go. But I will say this, I'm curious because it's a fun topic of conversation, and I'm like everybody else. I am absolutely guilty over a span of now 7.5 years of, at many times, taking a look at how much XRP I own and then calculating what that would do to my net worth if it hits so-and-so price. Oh my God, I've done that so many times. We all have, right? And it's fun to think about it, but you know what's even more fun? Then, like, because look, people do this with the lottery too. Oh my God, what would that mean? What would I do with $1 million winnings from my lottery ticket? Okay, there's that, but then there's XRP. And if you're talking about investing a certain amount of XRP, at least there's a snowball chance in hell that can actually happen. More than that, I would argue, because XRP is an obvious winner in the crypto space. In fact, I'd argue at this point, XRP is such an obvious winner that if there is such a thing as a blue chip crypto, XRP is that. It's an obvious winner, blue chip crypto. And I even reported in recent, I actually mentioned it a few times because I wanted as many people as possible to hear this. And I know not everybody listens to all of my videos, although you should, and I'm offended that you don't. I just want to make sure that as many people as possible knew that somebody who was speaking to a top 5 bank, and I can't remember them all, Bank of America, Citi, I can't remember the rest of them, US Bank. It doesn't matter what the list is. The point is that one of those top 5 banks considers there to be the big 4, and that's Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and Solana. There's the big 4, and then there's everything else, and they don't care about everything else. There's that, and then there's also 9,000 new XRP wallets added in 48 hours. Oh, I got something to say about that. And I sure as hell got something to say about this massive $58 million XRP transfer sent to Coinbase. By the way, that's scaring people because the assumption is, you know, if a transfer sent to Coinbase, that means people's going to sell. Oh, I've got some things you're going to want to know about that. Let's dig into this first, though. And this, again, this is just a for fun thing because we are in that exciting moment where it absolutely makes sense to believe that we're going to see XRP take off again. We already saw it happen in November. That's something that we were told was not possible. How many people did you see on social media screaming not possible? You know, all those toxic Bitcoin maximalists, all them idiot sticks, but it did take off. And did you notice how all of them shut the hell up for like the last 6 to 7 months since that happened? Did you notice that they shut the hell up? It's been delightful, actually. Because they were wrong, and people are increasingly afraid of getting egg on their face because they didn't see what we saw. XRP real-world utility, fundamentals, despite the lawsuit from the SEC, all that stuff getting stronger. And by the way, one of the most telling things, think about this. If this doesn't tell you about investor sentiment, think about it. Like, what does it tell you then? The fact that XRP, despite the SEC lawsuit over the span of close to half a decade, it stayed in the top 10 coins by market cap despite that? When many called for it to go to zero, doesn't that tell you, if you're one of the people, one of the naysayers, doesn't that tell you, most of the world thinks I'm wrong. I should probably look into that. Maybe I missed something. But these people, these insufferable, just, you know, pieces of debris, they can never look inward and ask why they were wrong. But yes, it is true that a lot of people, and I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you listening, could become XRP millionaires. I would not be surprised. Here's how the piece reads. Data from the community-driven XRP rich list indicates that wallets holding at least 50,000 XRP amount to 71,337. However, some of these wallets are already XRP millionaires at the current price. Specifically, those who are not yet XRP millionaires but could join the exclusive group with XRP, reaching $20, are less than $39,320. And so look, this shouldn't be like shocking news to anybody. I know that there are now over 6.5 million XRP wallets. It's obvious that most people are not going to achieve that status, but just because most aren't, it doesn't mean that you can't achieve that. And even if you know that you're not going to, or not likely to achieve that this cycle, it doesn't mean you can't get something very meaningful and life-changing for yourself. Especially if you've got other stuff invested elsewhere, other asset classes, other coins within this asset class. There's all sorts of things that are going to vary from person to person, of course, here. But the opportunity there, like, so to me, and I haven't mentioned this in a while, but it's worth repeating in a moment like this, which I firmly believe is like very close to right before we like start rocketing, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next quarter, whatever it is. We're living in that moment where any day, I firmly believe you could wake up and it's going. It's just worth recognizing that there is that opportunity for regular people like myself. I'm just a regular dude. I'm not special because I have a YouTube channel with some subscribers, although I absolutely genuinely appreciate it. I'm humbled by all the support. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. I'm not special because of that, though. I'm a regular dude trying to put myself in a better financial situation, just like the rest of you. And so the cool thing is this is a very real opportunity. This is actually real. There's never been an opportunity like this in the history of our species. This is a once-in-a-species event, not a once-in-a-generation event, like many people say. It's a once-in-a-species event. There will never be anything quite like this. I mean, I find it highly improbable. I'll say that. And do you realize, actually, I was going to pull this up later. I'm just going to pull it up now. Look at this. No, there's this one here. This is a post from chart analyst Cryptolico, because just to point out, because look, there already are XRP millionaires in that number I just cited with you, which is the reason I decided to pull this up now just on the whim. It's because most of y'all believe XRP is going higher. Most of you holding XRP firmly believe it's going higher, and I count myself in that group. And so look at this post from chart analyst Cryptolica. XRP, percent supply and profit, 76%. Think about that. And we're below the all-time high. Think about that. XRP hit $3.40 earlier this year. It's been a number of months. And so we're back below that, around $2.18, whatever it is as I record this. It's around that. And still, after that pullback, 76% are in profit. That's not what it's been for most of the time. Look at how low it's been over the last several years. There have been times where it's more like, 20% to 30% in profit. And everybody else that bought XRP, they're just down. And most of the first few years that I was holding XRP, I was down. I've said that many times on this. It's true. But that's what it takes. If you have that conviction, you have that conviction, and you act accordingly. At least that's what I believe for myself. And so that's what I did. But now, that many people in profit. Now think about this, though. What's that mean? If they're holding it at this level, it's because that many people believe it goes way higher. If you believe that was the top, and this is where it's going to go, or you're even close to it, we wouldn't have anywhere near 76% in profit. No. You would have sold, and then the new people that bought would not be in profit. They would have just bought it. And so you'd see that percentage closer to zero, whether it's 10, 20, 30%, whatever. I'm telling the people that are holding XRP talk about diamond hands. Like, that is proof of diamond hands. Look at the data. This is just data. That's data. Now, you can speculate about what that means. Well, I speculate it means that these mofos are, in the XRP community, freaking diamond hands. That's what that means. And take a look at this. 9,000 new XRP wallets added in 48 hours. I'm not going to read the article. Let's just look at the data. This is from XRP Scan. This chart in the middle of your screen. Number of new accounts activated over the last year. Now, if you go back to June on any given day here, a little less than 1,000 new accounts per day, 700, 800, 900, whatever. Sometimes a little higher than that. Look at where we are now. And this is, mind you, this is at a time where we're not having market euphoria. There aren't a whole lot of people searching for XRP on the webernets, on Google. It's very obvious. There's no sort of mania here. The new normal, despite that, because there are more people that have jumped in since then without the mania, it's resulted in a new number of accounts per day for XRP, typically between 3,000 to 4,000. Look at this as I scroll here. It varies a bit. It could be a little over 4,000, sometimes a little under 3. But mostly, the last couple months between 3,000 to 4,000. Look at that. Pretty wild, right? So you're talking about 4 times higher on average than a year ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. 4 times as many new accounts, which probably means about 4 times as many new people per day creating an account. And here you are at a moment where almost everybody agrees it goes higher. And the reason that I think that the people that say it's going to go higher are probably correct is because what you actually see at the peak is tons of people, they've made so much money that they're actually selling. And then the people that are purchasing, they're the ones that are new holders. They're not in profit anymore, right? Think about that. If you're at the peak and then the price goes up, you can see that. We're not seeing that. Doesn't that tell you something? The answer is yes, obviously. So there's this many people with this much conviction coming in literally on a daily basis. And we agree because we believe that we caught it early enough that, yeah, even for this cycle, number go up. I'm betting the answer is yes. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I could be. Maybe I'm wrong and it goes to 0. I just don't think so. I just don't think so. And then there's this headline that sounds scary. Massive $58 million XRP transfer sent to Coinbase. I kind of get tired of these articles because I know what to expect when I see these. You know, this is not my first rodeo. When you see something like this, and I like you today, I actually do. They have their mistakes, but when you see these things, so-and-so amount, massive, crazy amount that it's almost certain that no individual is holding, because that'd be a rare individual with that much, like a super rare. There's like a few of them maybe. Like, you know that it's almost certain that's an exchange, right? Like from an exchange to an exchange. Well, I verified it was. So take a look at this. This is what they were referencing in the article. I don't need to read the article. It showed the whale alert. This is an automated account. Whale alert did nothing wrong, showing 57 million USD, transferred to an unknown wallet to Coinbase. So then the fear is again, if it's going to Coinbase, oh, they're going to sell. No, folks, look at this. You can see the hash, and I just plugged it into BitHop here. You can see that the source is Coinbase and the destination is Coinbase. So what's happening here, even though we don't know all of the individual reasons why exchanges choose to move from one account to another, we do know that they do it for security purposes. This is a regular practice for every cryptocurrency exchange that exists. They move from one account to another. They just do. That's that. This is not surprising. You can see the source, you can see the destination. This is not an individual that's about to dump about $58 million worth of extra. It's just not happening. So I just wanted to at least mention that in a video because I see this. I know why they're doing it. And it gets some people concerned, but people are clicking on the article. It's not happening, okay? It's just not happening. This is not something to be fearful about. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this stuff, but I continue to, as each day passes, like I just dig into the data further, I see what pops up, and I'm very excited to share this stuff with you because it's so obvious. The behaviors you're seeing from XRP holders are not the behaviors that you see at the top of a cycle. This is what you see before the top of a cycle. And it's just so obvious. More and more people are getting in while they can. And I bet tons of people that are jumping in now, they wish they knew about this even just a year ago. And I know some of you are in that boat, and that's fine. Like, we all jump in when we jump in. I jumped in 2017, and I was like, I bought my first XRP, I think it was like 21 cents. I wish I had bought it at half a penny. I understand the feeling. But I also know that there's a lot of you listening now that have been here either longer than me, about as long as me, and I've been here since late 2017. And some of you that have been here at least a few years. That's a lot of you. And it's got to feel pretty good right now, right? And kudos and props to you for hanging on this long, because we went through more terrible garbage than any crypto community has ever had to go through. Unquestionably, that is true. I don't see how anybody could argue that with a straight face, frankly. But here we are, and we're better for it, and net worth going up over time. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.